Welcome to 365 Christian Men, where every day we aim to inspire and encourage with real-life stories about men. August 25th, Lee Strobel. Lee Strobel has won multiple awards as the legal editor of the Chicago Tribune and is a New York Times best-selling author. Strobel has authored more than 40 books and curricula that have cumulatively sold more than 14 million copies. Currently, Lee Strobel is the president of the Lee Strobel Center for Evangelism and Applied Apologetics at Colorado Christian University. Those accolades are pretty impressive on their own, but they become astounding when you learn that well into his adulthood, Lee Strobel was a staunch atheist. Atheist, as in the exact opposite of an apologist. He went from being a man who was sure there was no God to a man who is dedicating his life to the message that there is a God. On this date, in 1998, Lee Strobel published The Case for Christ.
When life leaves you unfulfilled, dig for truth. Lee Strobel stumbled through the front door. His toddler, Allison, grabbed her toy blocks, scurried to her bedroom, and shut the door. Lee shook off her cold shoulder reception. He tried to forget the times he had yelled, kicked holes in a wall, and made Allison and her mother, his wife, Leslie, cry. An atheist, he had chosen to focus on sensual pleasure. If there were no eternal consequences, then you grabbed all the pleasure you could. But chasing happiness with alcohol had left him unfulfilled, profane, and angry. That night, Leslie had big news. She confessed to him that she had become a Christian. Lee's first thought was divorce. He hadn't signed up for marriage to a prudish do-gooder. But over time, he noticed attractive changes in Leslie's character, morality, and how she treated him and the kids. One Sunday morning, Lee stirred as Leslie dressed. He had planned to sleep off last night's drinking, but Leslie invited him to church, and reluctantly, he went. The speaker toppled misconceptions about Christianity. The claims disturbed Lee, and he did not want to believe them. But if they were true, they had huge implications. At its core, Christianity relied on one event, the resurrection of Jesus of Nazareth. If it wasn't true, Christianity was false. An investigative reporter for the Chicago Tribune and a graduate of Yale Law School, Lee was wired to dig for truth. So he set out to disprove what he believed to be the Christian myth. For 2 years, Lee chased the evidence. He studied the claims of a dozen experts and authorities with degrees from places like Cambridge and Princeton, including atheists, Jewish scholars, historians, and psychologists. None of these noted experts could disprove the resurrection. One Sunday afternoon, he shut himself in the bedroom with a yellow legal pad. On it, he dumped a summary of everything he had learned, page after page, an avalanche of evidence. It all pointed to one place. Jesus was who he said he was, the Son of God. And Jesus backed up his claim by rising from the dead. Stunned and shaken, he put down his pen. At this pinnacle moment, Lee Strobel realized that it would take more faith to maintain his atheism than to become a Christian. Now what? Lee grabbed a Bible and he read John 1:12, where it says, "But to all who receive him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God." An equation formulated in Lee's mind. Believe plus receive equals become. Lee knelt beside the bed and he poured out a lifetime of shame for his alcoholic-driven, profane, angry, and abusive life. After his confession, he received the forgiveness Jesus offered. He became a child of God. Leslie was in the kitchen, and he went in and he told her what happened. She cried. She threw her arms around him. She had told her friends that Lee was a hard-headed, hard-hearted legal editor who would never bend his knee to Jesus. But one of them had read Ezekiel 36:26 to her, where it says, "And I will give you a new heart, and a new spirit I will put within you, and I will remove the heart of stone from your flesh." For years, Leslie asked God to take her husband's stony heart and replace it with a new one. Now God had done it. Over time, Lee quit being angry, disrespectful, and narcissistic. About 6 months later, Allison, now 5 years old, told Leslie and her Sunday school teacher, "I want God to do for me what he is doing for my daddy." Lee and Allison became best friends. Lee had taken his family on a road to destruction, but when he dug for truth, God rescued them. Does your belief system lead you and your loved ones toward destruction or toward restoration? When life leaves you unfulfilled, dig for truth.
Thank you for listening to today's story. Every day of the year, our hope is to inspire you with real-life stories of faithful men who have gone before us. Hebrews 12:1 says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin that so easily ensnares us. Let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith." Join us tomorrow for another story at 365christianmen.com.